time for the Tom Brand's era to end because his wrestlers underachieved. He had two wrestlers that either stayed the course with their seating or overperformed. The rest of them all underperformed their seating, and it just seems to become a habit. And I also said that it just seems like we don't have that aggressiveness. And I mean, Tom Brands was an aggressive wrestler. You did not want to arrest him.
Oh, he's well hated for a reason. Will not lie. I say just wait and see how Nationals plays out, because he can have a really bad performance at the Big Ten and still become a national champion. Spencer Lee was only a 2-time Big Ten champion and still a 3-time national champion. I mean, the Big Ten champion is the toughest conference wrestling championship or wrestling tournament, bar none.
Yeah. By the way, guys, I said at the thing that we were going to stream all over the place, and a couple of Twitter accounts did not go in, but we got Andrew from the Villain Sports Network behind the scenes opening up some more places for us to stream right now. So good. We're streaming in a few extra places.
So real quick, Twitter had a cyber attack on their main accounts today, so nobody can go live right now. It's nothing you did wrong. They just had a cyber attack, so you can't go live. But yeah, I connected to some more, man. Have a great show.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Andrew. Yeah, he takes care of me. Man, I could screw this whole thing up if he weren't taking care of me.
But I mean, the Brands brothers, I mean, it seems like, they're not reaching that expectation, the Dan Gable expectation. I mean, the man who pretty much built an empire.
Yeah.
And
I read a lot of places on Facebook and every place else that people are upset with Tom Brands right now.
They are, and rightfully so, especially if you're going to spend that kind of money to bring in these athletes and they're performing. I mean, if you got some kind of invested interest into a sports team, like, I get it. I can totally understand why people be upset.
Yeah. Okay. So
my big question is, if you want to get rid of Tom Brands, Terry Brands, who would you want to replace them with?
Yeah.
But, Spencer Lee, I really do believe he's going to be the future head coach at Iowa. So doesn't
he need some coaching experience, like come back and be an assistant coach for a while?
No, because you have someone like David Taylor. He replaced John Smith. I mean, right after the the World Team Trials or Olympics, pretty much John Smith said he was going to retire. I mean, legendary athlete and coach at Oklahoma State. And Taylor, no coaching experience, comes right in.
Yeah. Kelvin says that he doesn't think Keeter's going to do football again this year. If he doesn't, he probably will never do football again. It'd be a shame because we could use a couple of good linebackers, and he's a good one.
I was going to ask you, what position does he play? Linebacker? Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. But he's just so freaking skinny. It's just, you look at him and it's like, man, he's not your typical looking heavyweight.
No, long. Yes.
No, I mean, he needs to put on some muscle if he wants to compete with the real heavyweights.
Yeah.
And that's why I didn't think he would do well. But, to his credit, he fooled me. He heard my challenge to him, and he said, "I'm going to prove you wrong, Dean.
Yeah.
I'm going to get it." And he did it. Okay.
Oh, anything else to go over?
Well, let's just kind of like, you're so in tune. Where do you think some of these some of us will be placed? Like Drake Ayala probably would have gone in with the #1 ranking nationally.
Would have.
Now he won't, right?
Probably going to get the #2 seed. Okay. Guess what? He's still very capable of being a finalist. Okay. He can be a returning finalist, but he cannot be making stupid mistakes like putting your head down like that. I'm pretty sure he got an earful from both Tom and Terry Brands.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure we will have at least one finalist. I think it could come down to Drake. It could come down to Stephen Buchanan. But, 197 is going to be interesting how they're going to do the seedings.
Okay, all righty. Kelvin says, wasn't Taylor a Penn State guru coach?
Yeah, well, he wasn't a coach. He was an athlete under, Cale Sanderson. But he was part of the Nittany the Nittany Lion Wrestling Club.
Okay. So yeah, I would say we're so busy chasing Penn State, we forgot to look behind us because Oklahoma State's going to get there and maybe pass us.
It depends on the recruiting battle. And also,
didn't they pick up a couple of good ones that we were hoping to go to Iowa?
Yeah, they have.
Yeah. So they're winning the recruiting battle too. But this Bo, what's his name? Bo Bassett?
Bo Bassett, yes.
Okay. Recruit coming next year. Where does he fit?
Let's take a look. Well, hopefully 141. I mean, wherever we can put him.
Yeah. Well, that's what I want to know. If he's close enough to fill in some of our weak spots.
Yes, I would have to say so, especially even 157 when Teamer leaves and some of the seniors when they're gone. But we should probably do a show about the recruiting and stuff like that for another day because I'm not quite caught up with that.
Yeah, we could do that. I know that last year we did a show after the season ended on who's coming back, and then we got blindsided with everybody transferring out. Whoops.
Yeah.
Got on that show a little too quick.
Yeah. But I'm at the Iowa wrestling page right now. I see Drew Ayala, 125 or 133 pounds, but just a freshman. But Gabe Arnold, he's going back to down 174. I mean, almost guaranteed. Angelo's going to take that spot, and I'm looking forward to next year already. So,
okay. Yeah. Kelvin says Penn State, Iowa, and Oklahoma State are all on the same plane money-wise. Recruiting, NIL, difference coaching. Penn State has Dan Gable now. Yeah, he's basically a Dan Gable.
Yeah, yes.
I won't lie about that. I bet Iowa State wishes they would have kept him.
Yeah, how many times can Lightning strike at the same place? Iowa State.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, but he's 45 years old. How long can a guy actually coach
Just look
in
at
wrestling? Because if you're the type of guy that wants to get on the floor and wrestle with these guys to show them moves, which if I was coaching wrestling, that's what I would be doing. So I'd be too old because, I wouldn't be able to show them anymore because they'd be just too bigger and stronger than me.
I mean, just look at John Smith. I mean, he's been there for such a long time too. I mean, almost a few decades after Dan Gable retired.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Gable even came back for a year after he retired. I think it was Brands' first year or second year.
I mean,
he helped Brands out.
Yeah, he just couldn't walk away from it, and just some people are like that.
Okay, so I was telling somebody I thought that Sanderson could last 10 more years and go to 55, but heck, maybe he'll go longer.
There you go.
Yeah, but okay. What else do we have on the docket for the wrestling? That went a little faster than I thought, only because we had one other person who I thought was going to help us out, and he's not here tonight.
Is this Kelvin Allen Fisher?
Is
this Kelvin Allen Fisher?
Yes, this is the Kelvin that you guys were discussing last night. Well, let's talk about that. Okay, the discussion that you guys had last night on Facebook about the last time outside of Spencer Lee that we had a national champion.
It was, and thank you, Kelvin. You're the one who provided the information, but it was
not national champion, but Big Ten title champion. I'm sorry.
Had Spencer Lee, but before that, you had Corey Clark all the way back in 2017, the last wrestler to win a national title for Iowa. Besides Lee. But I mean, you got Michael Kemmerer. He won a Big Ten title back in 2021, the year after COVID. You have Alex Marinelli. He also won a Big Ten title, but I mean, just could not.
Okay, so you guys were talking national title, and I was, that's what Kelvin just verified, national title.
Yeah.
Okay, I was thinking Big Ten title. Okay, that's fine. That just tells you when I don't pay attention, things are going on.
And just how much we're struggling just at nationals, just trying to produce more national champs.
Yeah. And then, of course, we had you guys mentioned Derek St. John in 2013, but somehow overlooked Tony Ramos in 2014.
Ramos, yep. Smaller guy, 125, I believe. Maybe one.
Yeah. At first, I had him confused with the Ramos that wrestles for Purdue.
Oh, Matt Ramos, yeah. Oh,
yeah.
He went into the Big Ten tournament, ranked number 1, undefeated, loses. I mean, that's how competitive the Big Ten tournament really is.
Yeah, it is. It is. I mean, it's just crazy. Metcalf in 2010 and 2012.
Oh yeah,
Okay, so
he's probably one of the meanest Iowa Hawkeye wrestlers we ever had.
Have you ever watched that series? You had to buy it specially from somewhere, and then download it to your computer or TV or something. Called The Duel.
No, I haven't.
Okay, it brings back I believe it was Harold Nichols and Dan Gable.
Okay.
Talk about the year that Iowa State ended Iowa's run, and they wrestled twice that year. We got them the first time, but in the second time, we were ranked 1 and 2, and they nailed us. If I can remember right, but it had those two sitting there talking to each other. I think it's Harold Nichols. It's got to be if it's from back in the Gable days. So okay, Calvin wants you to predict the top 6 teams in the NCAA.
Okay, Penn State, number 1. That's an easy one to go with. Number 2, it's going to be probably a bloodbath between Oklahoma State, Iowa, Nebraska. Excuse me, I can just check internet right.
So you think Nebraska will be right there with the big boys?
As long as they're getting bonus points. I mean, they're sending 9 out of the 10 wrestlers. If they get a wild card and at-large bid, they could bring all 10 of their squads, just like Penn State.
Okay.
So let's take a look at. Okay, Intermat Wrestling, they have like rankings by tournament and duel. I'm just looking at the tournament. I mean, you got Penn State, Iowa, Oklahoma State, Nebraska, Minnesota. So there's your top 5 right there. Even UNI is actually being really competitive right now. They got second at the Big 12 tournament, just by a few points behind Oklahoma State. But any other teams outside that?
Okay. Is Cornell good? That's what he wants to know. Is Cornell good?
I can tell you.
By the way, before you go on that, it wasn't Harold Nichols. It was Gibbons. That was the coach of Iowa State. I should know better than that.
So Cornell's ranked number 9 right now. I don't know their team like as well as I know some of the Big Ten teams. So these Ivy League schools.
Yeah.
It's actually ranked number 11 now.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So Gibbons, just to mention, when he was at Iowa State, he coached his little brother Joe. I don't know if you remember Joe Gibbons or not.
Oh, I remember.
But he started out at Columbus and Waterloo and ended up at Ames and then at Iowa State. So, yeah. Waterloo, Columbus is where I went. And so, to high school, that's why I brought that up. So, wrestling was a big sport for Columbus. We dominated the area in wrestling when I was there. Okay. Schwab is a good coach. Where is he at right now?
Doug Schwab, he's the head coach at UNI.
Maybe it's time for him to move on and get some bigger experience.
You're really wanting to replace the brands.
Okay. Is this the same Schwab that coached at Buena Vista College at one point, wrestling? Because I seem to remember my nephew went wrestling for 2 years, I think, at Buena Vista College. And I thought there was a Schwab that was his coach and then later moved to UNI.
Well, I'm going to look up Doug Schwab's background real quick.
That would be cool. Then we could answer some questions there. But my nephew, he ended up, because of his girlfriend, he ended up transferring to Iowa State. While he didn't wrestle for Iowa State, he did work out with the Iowa State wrestlers.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, let's see. Freestyle, yep. University of Northern Iowa men's friend, yep.
Check out Mark Schwab while you're at it.
Yeah, Doug just says he's Osage, Iowa. Yeah, his accomplishments. Okay. So Mark Schwab?
Yeah.
Okay, look that up.
4-time state champion. from Osage. By the way, my roots began in Osage.
Awesome. Is that
Yeah. They're usually a wrestling powerhouse in the state of Iowa too.
Mark Schwab, Hall of Famer?
Current number one, Andrew, is Penn State. They have been for a long time, and they ain't going to give it up anytime soon.
No. But this is an older team, Penn State team, at least with Carter Starachi. Trying to think. Oh, actually, they're not as old as I thought. He's the only one that I can really think of. Because Carter Starachi, he's working to be the only 5-time national champion.
Yeah. Why is that?
Because
COVID? COVID?
Yep.
Okay. So, who's the freshman that won yesterday at
125?
Yeah.
That is
Penn State.
Starts with an L. So I can look that up real quick.
Labucci.
Yeah, it's Luke Littledell.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. He was kind of impressive, actually. He kind of came out with that same Penn State attitude. And, I'm just surprised that as many points as Penn State racked up yesterday or this weekend, I'm actually kind of surprised that their guys didn't do overall individually better. Some of them.
He's a true freshman, too, by the way.
Yeah, I know it. And that's one thing, too, that Brenz doesn't like to do. He doesn't like to wrestle true freshmen in big-time situation. Now, I know he gave in on Spencer Lee's freshman year, so he lost a half a season, and then he finally gave in and let him start the second half of the season. But, I mean, think about where it'd be if we had Ferrari all season wrestling.
Yeah, but, I mean, I think he had to burn the red. He had to use the red shirt on him, or else if he would have benched Gabe Arnold, that would have been a wasted red shirt from the other season.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I suppose. Could be. Alrighty. Did you ever find anything out on Mark?
I did the same stuff with the UNI.
Nobody at Buena Vista College, then. I guess I got the wrong guy.
Yeah, Schwab.
I'll send this one to my nephew, then he can correct me.
Yeah, the Schwab families are just part of the National Wrestling Hall of Fame.
Okay.
Yep.
All righty. Let's kind of move on real quick to some basketball real quick. Let's talk about that real quick. I know that you probably weren't paying a whole lot of attention when we got our big win against Nebraska yesterday on Senior Day in Lincoln.
Now, did Fran show any emotion? Was he pretty happy, excited?
Well, it's kind of hard. I mean, we maintained about a 15, 12-point lead the entire time. Never really gave it up. I mean, we started out slow, and then we came back, and they got about 12, 15 points ahead, and that's pretty much the cushion for the whole game. And so, yeah, I thought in a show of sportsmanship, I believe the guy's last name is Gary for Nebraska. When he went out, because he's a senior, when he went out of the game, the Iowa players came up and each gave him a hug.
Good. As
he exited the floor. And I thought what a great show of sportsmanship, considering Nebraska and Iowa are getting to the point where they're just kind of bitter rivals now. But what I wanted to really go over is Iowa finished 15th in the Big Ten, which allows them to play against, here we go, Ohio State, who's 10th seeded in the tournament. And in case anybody hasn't figured out, the bottom three teams are not going to the tournament this year, which I believe is Nebraska, Nebraska, Purdue. Gosh darn it, I can't remember who finished at the bottom. USC, Nebraska, and I can't remember the other one. Somebody just shoot me and tell me who it is.
So pretty much they're going to win it to be in it.
What's that?
They're going to win the Big Ten to be in the big dance. Well,
here's what I got. Okay, we got Ohio State. Okay, We play them on Wednesday about 6:30 Central Time. Okay. If we win that, then we take on 7th seeded Illinois. Okay. Washington is the other team that didn't make it. Penn State and Nebby. Okay. All right. I thought it was USC. I got it wrong. Okay. Okay. So then we would take on 7th seeded Illinois. These are 2 games that I feel like we can win. But you know who's waiting for us? If we get past there, it's number 2 Maryland. And here's the kind of thing that surprises me. Maryland with the number 2 seed, UCLA with the number 4 seed. If we remember, before they played Iowa, the coach was angry and upset, and they were on a losing streak. Iowa was their get healthy game. They smoked the crap out of us, and they've been on a tear ever since. So, yeah. And then, of course, that would be that. So it's going to be quite interesting. But I wanted to talk a little bit about what Iowa's postseason chances are beyond the Big Ten tournament. Okay. They mentioned on there that Iowa and Nebraska both could still get postseason play. I think if Iowa were to win 2, they might make the NIT. If they could win 2 in this tournament. My personal feeling. Okay. That would give them 18 wins.
What kind of seed
do you think? Into the NIT with 18 wins last year.
What kind of seed do you think they get in the NIT?
Oh, I don't know. Not very good. But the NIT has reformatted itself to where it's mainly Power 4 teams now. And they will take teams with losing records in there. And so they're just basically building it that way. Of course, there's the annual CBI tournament. I don't know. Somebody's saying that tournament's mainly for the mid-majors now. I don't know. And then there's this thing I saw advertised during the basketball game yesterday. Or it was also, I think, during the wrestling meet, the Crown in Las Vegas. March 28th through April 6th. Though they said Iowa could possibly make the Crown, be one of the 16 Power 4 teams. Okay. And I'm looking at that and thinking, what the heck? That means they would pretty much have to take a couple of weeks off and practice if they got invited to the Crown. And that would be like, because they're going to find out their seeding next week after the Big Ten. So, yeah. So they'll find out on the 16th if they're going to get any postseason play or not.
All right.
Okay. And so there's still hope out there, everybody. If you're still hoping that the men can do well, and of course that will disappoint everybody who wants Fran fired, because if they get some kind of a postseason tournament play, he's probably good to come back. I mean, he's not leaving on his own anyway, and why would he? Because he would be walking away from $4 million if he did.
I mean, fans need to ask themselves: are you comfortable with the buyout?
Well, that's just it. Is Beth going to pull the trigger and do the buyout after she looks at the low attendance at the men's game, the apathy toward Fran right now? Or is she just going to say, hey, you got some decent recruits coming next year. Let's talk about your attitude. Let's see if we can fix things and get things going. Then she promises him, that they're going to redo the arena. But I think right now they just need to redo the seating in the arena and start moving the students on top of everybody, all around the bowl, all around it, on the bottom. Give them the best seats in the house and make sure that their hands are waving on every free throw. Make sure that they're yelling and screaming. Make sure they're parked behind the bench. I mean, when Iowa went to Illinois and that Orange Crush, did you see where they were sitting? Right on top of the teams, right on top of the floor. I mean, okay, Calvin says Iowa's expected to get in the NIT easily if Iowa accepts a bid.
I say good for them.
I think they would accept the bid. Why wouldn't you? That's money in your pocket.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think they accept a bid if they get it. But I think they would have to win at least 2 games to get there. At least 1 for sure. They can't be a one and done team. That's for sure. Not like the indication. But wouldn't this be the crazy year that they make a run in the Big Ten and then make a run in the NCAA or something? we make a run in the Big Ten, 5 wins in 5 days, and make a run and win the title, and they have to put us in the tournament.
That's got to upset a lot of analysts and just
Yeah. Okay, now Calvin is saying this: if coaching change might not go well. True. The only problem is if your team is getting accepted in a bid, you're not talking coaching changes yet, because Iowa will know on March 16th, probably very late at night when most of us are sleeping, if they're going anywhere.
Yeah.
You know. So anyway, I just kind of wanted to bring that up real quick. I didn't expect the basketball segment to be real long. I was supposed to get some help from Brandon. Brandon, where are you?
hope you're all right.
Yeah. We'll see if he's even actually. He ain't even checked this thing.
Okay, I have one final question for you, Dean.
Okay, go for it.
What would you want Beth to say to Tom and Terry?
Tom and Terry?
Yep.
I'm saying I think that your guys' jobs are safe, but we gotta start wrestling better. Okay, so we got Calvin saying he doubts we stay close to Ohio State.
Make it competitive. Just be competitive.
Yeah. Well, we're using 3 guys to replace Freeman. You know, and honestly, out of the 3, I kind of like Braum a little bit. He's the one, number 0. I kind of like what he's doing. He seems to be the most productive out there, pulling down rebounds, actually scoring some buckets. And what is this? Yeah, it's okay. Andrew, just tell him real quick that we're about to wrap this up. So.
Well,
Andrew's online here, and we're in the group text over here. Somebody's offering to come in live and help us out, but we're done.
Yeah, and hopefully, we'll have to do another show. Maybe we can do a show when the Big Ten, or excuse me, when the national brackets are out for wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Calvin has a final question for you, Jared. What would you do with the wrestling program?
What?
And I want to ask you the same questions. If you were Beth, what would you say to Terry? And
about Beth? Terry, okay, I don't know what you guys are doing, but what you're doing is not working. And just why aren't you guys aggressive?
Yeah. And then what change would you make in the program that would actually make us more competitive? Get us back to the Dan Gable days when we're national champions and Big Ten titles were just expected.
Man, I mean, I was a college wrestler, but man, that's a Division I program, man. They're on a completely different level than, let's say, NAIA. So, I mean, you just got to get their confidence up is what it is. It's more about building mental toughness. Okay.
Right. Okay. All right. I mean, I think we can do this. We can get back there. Okay. Okay. Vandy has a serious question here.
Okay.
Will Iowa make a run to hire Drake head coach and get Iowa playing competitive in basketball again? I absolutely do not think they will.
Hey, congratulations to Drake on
winning the MVP. Was it MV Midwest Valley or Valley Midwest? I can't. What is their conference called? MVC, Midwest Valley Conference. Yes. 3rd year in a row with a new coach and basically a whole new team. Congratulations to Drake. I watched that game. However, I don't want to. I said this yesterday, and I took some beating on Facebook this morning on it. Is his team was playing tenacious defense against Bradley. However, I don't want to go back to Licklider days, passing the ball 15,000 times, and then with 2 seconds left on the shot clock, shooting it up and hope it goes in. You know, I'm sorry. You know, I don't want to win games in the 60s or the 50s. I just don't. I appreciate the defense that he's run, but if this coach is going to bring that, Todd Licklider, he's already proved you can't win in the Big Ten with that style of ball. That might work in the Missouri Valley or some mid-major school, but it's not working in the Big Ten. we're going to get eaten alive with all the athletes and stuff that they got, you know. And we don't have, and anyway, we don't have the guys that can play that style of ball right now. Just my personal opinion. Okay. All right, guys. I want to thank you guys. Appreciate you for watching. Those of you who know Brandon, give him a hard time. He hasn't been on Facebook or Messenger for over 2 hours. So hopefully nothing's wrong with him. Everything is cool with him. And so we hope everything is fine with him because he's not checked in at all. Yeah, with that, I am going to get us out of here. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you, Andrew.
Thanks for having me.
You bet. We'll do it again at Nationals.